Hey, I hope you will hang out and wait to hear from Tammy Derrigan, who talks about how listening is the key to connecting people. Hang on for the next Notable Networker show.
Today on BNI Mid-America TV, it's the Notable Networker Show. These BNI members have been nominated by their peers for doing amazing things, reaching big accomplishments, and actively displaying the giver's gain philosophy. Listen as they share their golden nuggets for networking success. And now your host, Marcy Cascio-Hale.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to BNI Mid-America TV. This is the Notable Networker Show, and this is where we get a chance to talk with some of our seriously outstanding members and get their insights on business, BNI, and networking. My name is Marcy Cascio-Hale, and I am your host today. And who I have with me today is Tammy Derrigan of the Derrigan team, Investment Real Estate Specialist. Welcome, Tammy.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, well, we're so happy to have you here. And I'm just really excited for you to share with everybody what you do. So a little bit about Tammy. She belongs to the BNI Platinum Referral Partners, a BNI group. They meet on Zoom every Thursday from 7 to 9. And she is the investment property realtor for the group. Also has a role in the Passport to Success, being the coordinator. That is awesome. Well, welcome today. And Tammy, let's talk about your business, because your business is the most important thing before we get started doing anything else. Share with us what you do and why you do it.
Sure. Well, thank you for the opportunity. So I am a realtor. I got my license to take myself shopping. How funny is that? And never intended to use it to help other people. But long story short, I sort of took on a challenge from the broker who held my license, and it was life-changing. And what I learned is that I am really good at helping people buy and sell investment property, even though I only intended to do it for myself. And I get to help people make a real difference in the St. Louis community and improve our community at large. And I love that. And I also get to be the captain of my own ship, which I had not done before. And it's really rewarding to be able to make decisions for myself, for better or worse. And I'm the toughest boss I ever had, but I love it.
You know what? Well, I can't even say we all are, but when you're self-employed and you have your own business, you are going to be your toughest boss ever if you want to stay in business. So yes, I totally get that. So share with us a little bit about who your ideal client would be.
So I work with a variety of people in different phases of their investment property career, but my ideal client would be someone who already owns a number of properties that generate passive income for them, meaning someone pays rent.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of beautiful. You put a down payment toward the property, or you pay cash, but ideally you put a down payment, and then your tenant, whether it's a person or a business, pays rent, and out of that rent you pay for your taxes, insurance, sewer, etc., maintenance, and what is left over is your net. And your tenant continues to pay your expenses until it's paid off. And guess what? Then you get all of that rent, less some of the operating expenses, as passive income. It's a great way to fund your retirement, to boost your overall diversification with your financial investments. And the one thing that I didn't mention is the non-rent generating possibility for investment property is people who do rehabs. Think like fix and flips that you might see on HGTV. Those are fun because they're really pretty at the end, right? So anyone who has experience doing any of those things is my ideal client. I work with people at earlier stages of the process, of course, but that's my optimal introduction.
And so, speaking of that type of client, what is the problem that they come to you with that you can help them solve?
Sure. So, if it's a person who wants to sell their property, they likely do not have the expertise and probably not the time to sell it. And they certainly don't know a ton of investors who might be interested in buying it without taking it to market, like on the MLS, as we always hear of. So I can help analyze their property, come up with a realistic marketing package, a realistic price. I can market it not on the MLS, we would call that off market, to my existing database and to other people that I network with, other agents who work with investors, and I can, put it on different websites that target investors. So if it's a buyer, um, and I get repeat business from both buyers and sellers quite a bit. But a buyer, typically, if they're at the beginning stages of their thing, they may be coming from out of state and they don't know the area.
Mm,
And it's a little bit tough to buy property from afar and make good decisions when you don't know the area. Um, and so identifying property, going to see it, managing inspections, uh, connecting them. This is a great BNI thing. Connecting them with great resources that would help facilitate their endeavors, like a roofer, an inspector, a sewer guy, maybe a window installation company,
mm,
maybe a property manager. Like there's so many infinite possibilities. And so that's a great opportunity for me to help build my BNI partners' businesses, but also make it an easier, smoother process, making for a happier client who's going to want to stick around and do more business.
right. Well, and that's better for the area. It's better for your community, and it's better for any lender because bringing people in for long term is always going to generate so much more than just an initial sale. I did see one thing in your intake interview where you talked about doing income and expense analysis, data filled marketing materials, leases, rent history. Can you tell us a little more about like those aspects of what you offer?
Sure. So when you, as a home buyer or a home seller, go to to do that transaction, it's a very specific kind of thing that many, 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 many people can do. Working with investment property is a little different. And most people who work with residential property only, they don't even know what questions to ask. They don't know what documents to tell the seller to prepare. So, like, first of all, there would be leases. We need to have the leases. We need to have the rent payment history with any outstanding balance due. We need to know what kind of, like, if there is any kind of rent assistance, we need to know what kind that is because some are better than others and more desirable than others. We need to know the expenses. And there are even people who work with investment property that don't provide expenses, which is something that you absolutely have to have to truly evaluate a property. So, we want to know I can look up the taxes, but, we want to know the taxes, insurance, sewer, water, trash, lawn care, if there is any,
Right.
and maintenance, like average maintenance. And we want to know how old are the systems, meaning the roof, the furnace, the condenser unit, the water heater, because those are bigger ticket items
Mm-hmm.
and they don't last forever. So we want to know how old they are and what condition they're in
Right.
because we need to account for those things in maybe 6 months or maybe 6 years.
Right.
And so, like, as a matter of course, collect all that information, whether I'm representing the seller or the buyer,
Mm-hmm.
and help them evaluate it. And many times people are asking an outrageous price for the net operating income, which is your income minus your expenses
Mm-hmm.
divided by the asking price. And so, if you see, I don't know, if you see like a four family, like we've all seen four families and many of us have lived in four families, right?
Right.
But one that is in Tower Grove South is very, very different than one that's in Castle Point. And they're going to have different cap rates associated with them. So how do you evaluate all of that and help people process that information? Experienced people know they need it and they're able to do their own calculations.
Mhm.
Newer people maybe don't know that they need it all, and they definitely don't know how to calculate that stuff. And so I help them with that. And of course, there's always the negotiation, like once we actually go through with an offer. Sometimes it goes quickly, sometimes it's lengthy negotiations, but that's the fun stuff for me.
You are hitting so much home for me right now in what you're saying, because as a layperson purchaser looking at a four-family or looking at a rental property or whatever, if you've never done it before, you don't know the questions to ask. So you're the expert, you're the coach, you're the trainer that's in the corner with your buyer or your seller to help guide them to a much better solution to make sure that they are crossing their T's and dotting their I's. And I have to introduce you to our business attorney that's in our chapter, as well as our real estate professional, because I think we could get some,
Synergy.
I was looking for a boxing euphemism, but that's not going to work. But yeah, no, I can see they're working together, because one of the things that I think all of BNI, at least the BNI people that I know, are really big into building their communities. And I think working together, and those two professionals working together with you, will help your community and our community, even though we're separated by several miles. So,
oh yeah, sure.
So remind me when we get off.
I'm going to make a note of that.
Awesome.
So this is your business attorney,
yes,
and your realtor.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so let's do a little bit of a right turn, since we are talking about BNI. Can you share what your biggest and best BNI success story is so far?
There are so many.
I know.
There are so many.
I know.
You know what? I would say on the receiving end of wonderful, I have a great story that involves a visitor. So a member of a previous chapter that I was in, BNI Prime, invited a visitor who represented a sign company. Super great guy, very nice. He came to visit again. We had a one-to-one. But somewhere, like I think it was on the second visit, I stood up in my sales manager moment, and rather than giving a great story and this kind of a person would be a great introduction for me this week, I actually said two names, like John Doe and John Smith. And turns out the visitor was practically family with John Doe. Spends like all the holidays with him. And he's like, yeah, I'll introduce you. And so he did. And over the course of 2 years, that introduction from a visitor netted me $55,000 in commission.
Wow.
Wait, here's the punchline. The visitor never joined BNI. And that is the power of a visitor and their network.
And
Yeah.
I love that you said $55,000 in commissions, because that wasn't even sales. That was commissions. Oh my God, that's a great number. I love
Wait,
that.
Do you want another one?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I love these.
On the giving end, from my previous group, there was a guy who helped people 65 years and older evaluate their medical benefits and what have you, just to make sure they had the best scenario possible.
Right.
Like, what a sweetheart of a guy, like seriously. But I didn't have that many referrals for him, and I felt kind of bad about it. But like you don't always have the most referrals for everybody. But so I made introductions where I could. Well, one day he got up to give his keynote presentation, and like I always listen, because you never know when you're going to get like a spark of inspiration from some random thing.
Right.
Like, oh, they're really into coaching soccer, and I know this person who's really into soccer, and la la la. Well, that didn't happen with Sam. But he said something about retirement communities. And I realized that at a cocktail party hosted by another realtor, I had met a senior vice president at a retirement community, and we were Facebook friends. And I said, all right, this is a long shot. But I asked him if it would be a good introduction. He said, yeah, that'd be great. So I asked her if that would be okay to make the introduction, because I don't want to waste anyone's time by connecting to people who don't want to talk.
Right.
And she was like, yeah, I'd be happy to have a conversation with him. And so they met. She liked what he had to say enough to the point that she invited him to come and do a full day of consultations where he was like in the, I don't know, lobby.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's where it was, but he was somewhere in this retirement community where people at all stages of assisted living were living. And so they could make appointments to go sign up for him. They loved it so much. He has a standing appointment once a month. So I gave him a golden goose
Oh my
because
goodness.
I went to a cocktail party. So, I should go to more cocktail parties, right?
Well, number one, definitely. And number two, I love how you went back into the recesses of your mind and pulled somebody from this aspect of your life and this aspect of your life and pulled them together. I that's the BNI magic right there. That's perfect. Oh, I'm so excited for you. I'm even more excited for him. That's amazing. You should be very proud. That's great.
I would love to find more golden geese to give. But like on the daily, I just listen. I meet a ton of people who have lots of needs. And if, we're just chatting about things in general and they don't bring up anything, if we have time, I may say, so what else is going on in your life? And then they'll tell me. And sometimes it's just good stuff. And sometimes it's challenges. Challenges are opportunities.
Right.
And so I can say, oh my gosh, I know a guy who can help you with that. Would you like me to introduce you?
Oh,
Easy
yeah.
peasy.
Easy peasy. And you're solving a problem. And I love solving problems. That's so awesome. So, you know that somebody nominated you for being a notable networker, which obviously the proof is in the pudding. You just shared with us like over and over again. So share with us how that makes you feel. What does that mean to you?
It's wonderful. And I love helping people and being able to connect the dots. So that in and of itself is its own reward. But for other people to notice and actually take the time to make that nomination, like, wow, that's incredible. I'm so honored.
I just, it's one of the reasons I like doing the show, because if there are so many times in your life that you try to make the right decisions, you make the right decisions, you make the right, and nobody's there saying, good job. Good job. You got the angels and the devils on your shoulders, but you're making the right decisions. And this show, I think, is a wonderful way to say you are noticed, you are appreciated, and what you're doing is amazing. Please keep doing what you're doing. So
that's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that you are so well thought of and that you have such experience and such positivity about the BNI experience. I'm actually going to ask you another question then. So,
okay.
Being that you are Miss BNI, what is a golden nugget or a tip that you would want to share about your life, your business, or BNI? I know, it's a stumper.
Well, so many nuggets. No, seriously. I would say as far as BNI goes, if anyone is considering it, but they haven't done it before, it's definitely a commitment. But if you take the time to work it and get to know your team members, like the people in your group, your extended sales force, and you get trained by them to be their extended sales force, and they take the time to get to know you. They can go out and be your extended sales force. It is time infinitely well spent. And you can't just like sign up for it and check out and expect the referrals to come in. You have to actually like people and
Mhm.
listen to what they do. And then conversely, you have to like take the time to listen to the people you're interacting with and jump on those opportunities. Like, wait, you know what? A few minutes ago, you mentioned that you were having some trouble with the whatever, whatever.
Mhm.
I actually know a guy who has helped multiple people I know with that situation. And I know that he would be happy to take care of you. Can I introduce you? And it's funny, I have so many clients. So with my business, many of my clients turn into repeat business over and over and over, which is
Mhm.
lovely. And so many of them actually contact me regularly for, hey, do you know somebody who does X that has nothing to do with real estate? Because
I
they
love that.
know,
I
I
love
know.
that. I love that. Because I'm a fixer. Are you a fixer, Tammy?
I
Yes.
am.
Yes.
It's hard to just sit there and listen.
It is. It is. And so I feel exactly the same way you do. And I love what you said about working the program. I think BNI is like anything else. You get back what you put in. And I equate it, not that BNI is working out, but I equate it to you don't do 10 sit-ups and then all of a sudden you have, a six pack.
Wait, you don't?
I know. Is that why it's not working? Yeah, I mean, it's a program. It's something that you do every day, and that's how you get the best results. Consistency, and just walk it like walking the walk. Doing the do. That's what I call it. So I love that you brought that up. Now, one last thing I want to ask you about is if you had one piece of actionable advice. This is always what I ask that last question, that you could give a BNI member or somebody considering BNI, what would that be?
Hmm.
One
I think it might be
actionable.
for the same population, for both populations.
Yeah. Or one for each. You can.
So for BNI members,
Mhm.
listen and log. Like make that connection and immediately log it in the app. Because
Uh-huh.
if we don't log it, we don't have a way to track it. And then do
Right.
you really know what your success rate is? Do you really know what it's netted you?
I'm writing that down.
So for potential members, it would be a bit different because they don't have a need to log anything.
Hmm.
I think it would be to visit different groups and
Okay.
find one that feels good to them because we're all different. And
Yes.
what's a fit for you may not be a fit for me. Like my group is on Zoom. We started in March and we made the decision pretty early on that we were starting on Zoom, but then we decided we were going to stay on Zoom. And
Hmm.
there were pros and cons to that, but it's not for everybody. Some people just have too much difficulty with it, or they like giving hugs.
Right.
They like the person to person thing. Some of the pros are you can have a group that's made up from a more diverse geographic area
Hmm.
and they bring a more diverse, I don't
Set
know,
of
social
networks.
circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the opportunity and it's truly convenient not to have to do all that driving. But you have to make that commitment to show up and be present and have your camera on and to interact.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it's amazing. And here we are in Zoom
Hmm.
and it works. So I don't know, just shop around, find a group that meets the way you want to meet and that has people that you kind of gel with and think you would be excited to
Hmm.
be their extended sales force and to have them out there representing you because that's what it comes down to.
I can't agree with you more. One of the things in all of the meetings I have ever visited, there is a different dynamic to each group. There are some groups that it's like a business meeting with professionals that sit down and everybody's got their pen out and you know, and that's wonderful. And then there are chapters that, I mean, my chapter has clappers. We have clappers, you know. I don't have one with me, but you know, it's a clapper. You know, it's one of those things that goes like this all the time. And we have so much fun all the time. And we are laughing and we're exchanging. I mean, our chapter, we just figured this out, since we started 6 years ago, has closed over $30 million in business.
High five.
That's right. Just our chapter.
That's amazing.
And it's so exciting. You get to build business in your community. You get to grow families because you're putting food on your friends' tables, and you're helping your community.
Mm-hmm.
I love what you said, listen and log. I love that. Listen and log. I'm taking that with me to my meeting on Wednesday. So Tammy, any last thoughts that you want to put out there before we sign off?
You know what? If you take the time to get to know your fellow BNI members, it will come back to you, I don't know, more than tenfold, I would say. But if you don't do the work, you're just putting time and money down the drain. So take that extra step, make that investment, and it'll be worth so much.
I totally agree. I love the purposeful intention that you're talking about. So Tammy, I want to just say thank you again so much for being with us today and sharing, dude, your experience, your thoughts, your wisdom, and your heart with us. So thank you so much. We appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And for our viewers, if anybody would like more information about Tammy, her business, or her BNI experience, just check out the information in the show notes and feel free to reach out to her. I think Tammy is very open, right, Tammy?
Not at all. I'm an open book.
Yeah, she's very open to chatting. And for our viewers, thank you so much for spending time with us. And please check out other BNI Mid-America TV shows. We have Go for the Green, the Gold Club Member Spotlight, New Member Spotlight, and a couple others. So please feel free to look for those. And if you would, click to subscribe and be sure to share our show with your family and friends, especially those who are wanting to grow their business, because we would love to help. So thank you again so much for joining us, and have a great day.
For more information on how BNI can help you build your business, book your complimentary consultation with Virginia Moose-Keith at discoverbnimitamerica.com. BNI Mid-America TV is brought to you by the Bergman Insurance Group, your trusted source for Medicare information, education, and enrollment. Be sure to check out the show notes for additional information on how to contact today's host or guest about their business, and thanks for watching.